Hello, y'all. How you doing? How you doing? This is Divine Celiane. I am back. So welcome back. Those of you that are coming back, thank you so much for coming back and listening to me. Put my fan on, child. It is hot. As you can see, I did not put my hair on today. I'm wearing my dreads because it's just too doggone hot. I ain't gonna do all that. So, so I wanted to continue in the 7 Deadly Sins series, and I'm actually going to end it with this one. Here's why. Because I've combined some, but I've talked about anger already, and I know wrath is a little bit different, but I'm leaving it at anger for now, and I'm going to address it later, but I'm going to attach it to kind of what's going on in the world. Okay? So we're going to talk about lust. We're going to get a little bit deep into that. And so for those that don't know me, I am a divinely gifted seer, healer, Hayoka, whatever you want to call it, channeler, medium, whatever you call it. And I am here to spread the message of love to everyone in the world. Okay? And I've been working on this series of the 7 Deadly Sins because it's so important to talk about. And I do not do it from a religious standpoint. There is a reason. Because everyone is chasing after a book that has had so many books removed that it is difficult to even keep up with. Let me explain something. When you walk around and it's control, 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 obedience, 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 obey. Right? And you have the church doing that. You have religions doing that. You have your government doing that. You have society doing that. And at some point, you become just forget it and you leave it all behind. And what happens is you end up leaving spirit behind. My goal is for you to learn love within yourself so you can even find spirit and love other people. Okay? For you to be able to understand spirit. You can't understand spirit if you don't love yourself. That's where you find it. Okay, so I give it from a practical perspective, from a perspective of how you use it in your life and why you don't want to do it. Not because something told you that you are not to do it, but so you can understand why you're not to do it. Okay, so with that, let's get started. So, lust. Sins of the flesh. So, lust deals with more than just sex. Okay? This is wanting, but this is wanting in excess. This is wanting too much, having more than you'll feel. It does go on the lines of gluttony, except it's a different step. It's that you want, and that's it. And you're going to have, and you don't care the consequences. So, it is wanting what someone else has, what they call in the Bible coveting, like someone else's goods. Okay, that is lust. People usually use it just for sexual issues. It's not just for sexual issues. It's for when you want something. You can lust after anything. Sexual desires, and then wants to the nth extreme. Okay, so when it comes to lusting or coveting other people's spouses, who they're with, doing spells because you want someone, because your ass is too crusty to get somebody yourself, and you feel that you deserve to be with that person, that kind of thing, I got one thing to say to you people. Get your damn own. Love yourself enough to get your own. Stop putting spells on people and changing people's will to see you a particular way because you want them. Do you understand that you're getting in the way, excuse me, of their will? And that's a no-no. That is a universal no-no. You don't do that. You get got. And not only that, the karma comes back on you. So someone else can do that to you as well. Okay. So I tell people all the time, when you put spells on people, especially love spells on folks, you are influencing the will of somebody else. You are manipulating. Forget influencing. You're manipulating. Okay. That's a no. And I want to ask this question. For you to sit in your spirit, what is the gain? Well, I got the person. Yeah, but is the love real? Well, I don't care. Okay. You wait until you loving this person. This person thinks this is real. Let it wear off one day. Because see, some of these spells you got to keep doing. Some of these spells are long lasting depending on how weak-minded and how weak the will of the person is. But the love ain't real. You had to foster it. I want you to keep that in mind. Okay? Because deep down in your spirit, you know it ain't real. You know it was bought. So I'm going to just leave that right there. So when it comes to spouses and couples, I'm going to get there. Okay? I'm going to get there. But I want to talk about contracts. Okay? Because when you lust, you override and you create contracts that you shouldn't create. So let's take a look at these kind of contracts. We have a promise. A promise is a sacred contract, either by word, signature, or blood, or juices of the body. Okay? And it's binding. It is not just in a legal court. Okay? No. It is with the universe. It can be with a spiritual being. It depends. It can be with a person. It depends, right? This is though why you watch what you promise and what you say. I'm going to get to the written in a minute. But you watch what you say because that is a legal binding contract with the universe. Well, Divine, what does that mean? That means you made a promise that the universe is expecting you to deliver on. And you see how big the universe is. You created that energy and you put it out there. So you have to deliver on it because the universe is going to deliver on what you asked. So remember, it's an equal exchange. It goes back and forth. So you can't say and make a promise that you don't deliver on, baby. It's going to collect on you. Okay? Written. Your name is your representation of who you are. Is what you were given when you were born into this plane, right? Every name has a vibration. It has a meaning. It is a title, right? And it's an identifier of you in this plane and in this universe. So it has a meaning. It is binding to you. It identifies you. Okay. Written contracts are legally binding. Court, as you know. But also in blood contracts. That is binding. That is binding. Okay. So blood contracts are usually made with darker beings and made with spiritual beings, and made in certain circles and societies. And those are binding, my loves. You cannot break that. Okay? So when you use blood, these contracts are soul contracts. Some of them are spirit contracts, meaning it never gets off your spirit. It is with you every time you're reincarnated. Your soul contract, it depends. Sometimes those move with you too. That soul is put back in you, just a different flesh skin, right? So, but those are binding. Those follow you in the spirit realm and beyond. So you got to be very careful of the contracts that you make. They don't go away when you leave this plane. No, baby. Because it's done with the judgment of the spirit realm. And that is forever. Remember, energy is neither created nor destroyed. This is why you need to remember that energy is neither created nor destroyed. Okay? Others can make contracts on you and me and anyone else in the universe, right? And me and the universe get into about this all the time. Because it is not right, in my opinion, that you can make a contract on somebody else to collect upon. And you won't even know. You won't even know why some people died. You won't even know why some people have, or you have bad karma, bad luck. You won't understand what's going on. I talked about this in another video. You won't even understand what is going on, right? But that sometimes a contract was made on you or about you. And this is why others can be sacrificed for another, that blood contract, right? Your DNA is traded for another. All right. And it's binding. There is always a broker of the deal, a giver and a receiver. And sometimes the broker of the deal is the giver. Sometimes it is not. Okay. But again, it is binding. Now, we're going to get into why these contracts are important. And really, it is important because when you lay with someone, so let's take sexual desire, okay, because that's what we're about to move into. When you lay with someone, that is a contract. That is an energy contract. That is a contract of juices in the body, semen, vaginal fluids, saliva. Those are contracts. That's DNA. That is a contract. Okay? Your emotion goes with that contract. I don't care how many prostitutes, how many escorts, how many pimps, how many John. I don't care what they say. Okay? You still give an energy. There is still an attachment to that person because you have given energy. You have bound yourself for that amount of time in that energy. Okay? So I want you to understand something. Sex is not a wrong thing. It is a very beautiful art form and a very beautiful union. It is. It is sacred. That's the thing. People that see what's going on today with sexual acts, right? They want to swear that it is of the devil, it's of Satan, it's this and it's that. And no, it is a beautiful union when done correctly. Okay? This is one of these deadly sins that you got to be very careful. Very careful, because you can give your energy away to someone else. And this is one of these sins. I hate saying this, but it's kind of like, do what they tell you to do. I'm serious. Do what they tell you to do, because it's so heavy, and what you give away is so much that you don't understand. And we're going to get into that. But it's a lot. And I didn't realize that until I got older. But then you're trying to figure out why you got emotions and things going on. And you're like, what the hell? I don't understand. I don't get what's happening because of what you're giving. Okay? So, sex is only wrong when it's not sacred. And I don't even want to say it's wrong. It's misused when it's not sacred. And when it's not sacred, it's used as a weapon. And it should never be used as a weapon. But these groups and shit and people use it as a weapon to trap folks, to keep folks, and all that good stuff. I've been there and done that. I know about that. So understand something. This is where it says in that book, the body is a temple. Your body is a temple. Okay? And I'm saying it again. But it's a temple because what it receives and what it gives out. It receives transmissions. It houses your intuition to know. It houses holy energy. So then if it houses holy energy, like the Ark of the Covenant, would you defile that? No. Would you defile? Some people do defile churches, right? But would you defile a building or something physical in which you go into to pray, to meditate, to do yoga? Would you defile that? So then why would you defile your temple? You understand? And you are a walking, living temple that carries the word naturally of spirit and source and universe. So why would you defile that? You understand? So, one receives, right? One gives. In a male-female relationship, one is a giver, one is a receiver. Okay? It is a lock and key formation. It was made that way for a reason. Now, for other couples, same dynamic. It is a lock and key formation. So you may hear me say it as a male-female dynamic. Take it where it resonates for you. But it's still the same. Still a lock and key combination. One is a giver and one is a receiver. Okay? Where lust is present is manipulation. It is using and exploiting a sexual sacred ritual. Okay? And I'm explaining to you why it's sacred. It is massive energy that is raised. So you got two people or more, right? Depending on what you float with. And you raise that energy. That energy grows exponentially and then some. Fast, right? That is very powerful. If you're looking at your frequency, your amplitude, and your wavelength, we're talking about like that, because when you're touching and caressing stuff like that, that desire grows, that energy grows. It's energy, right? And as it grows and grows and grows to orgasm, it gets bigger and bigger, right? So that massive energy creates a feedback loop between you and the person you are intimate with. And it's an energetic exchange, physical and energy and juices. Okay. And those juices, those that are in the South, you already know. You've heard of the putting the period blood in the spaghetti, or having, like, when you drink, I'm gonna snitch on this one. When you drink after somebody, like you drink from a straw and someone else drinks behind you, and then all of a sudden they're kind of latched onto you. See, that's kind of shit they used to do in the South to trap somebody close to you. That kind of thing. That's the exchange of juices, right? That forms a contract. This is why not everybody eats everybody's food, for this reason. Because they can try to steal your energy and bind you in a contract. Okay? You become attached to that person, and sometimes they don't go away, and the person knows what the hell they're doing because they spell it on you. You understand? It is an equal exchange of energy, and that is why you're only supposed to exchange this energy with a life partner, because this bond is built over time and is a contract between two people. That's what it's supposed to be originally, right? It's supposed to be a contract between two folks, but it's a legally energetic binding contract. Again, I don't care if you're married, boyfriend, girlfriend, fuck buddies, friends with benefits. I don't care if it's Ho John. I don't care. Escort, high-end, sugar daddy. Don't give a damn. It is a contract. Not just a contract you have on paper. It is a contract. Okay? And that contract is binding, whether by body juices, whether by blood, whether by what you said, whether by what you did, whether by what you wrote. It is binding. And the universe collects upon it. Okay? Karma does too. Consequences does too. So, this is this right here. I'm going to introduce Tantra. I'm a Tantrika. And a Tantrika is a person that practices Tantra. This is the reason why I practice Tantra in the first place. My teacher used to tell me, we control the desire to let go within the desire. And I'm going to explain that in a minute. Sexual part of Tantra. So let me explain something. Tantra just means meditation, right? But when it was brought over here to the West, they sat up, thank you, Sting, they sat up and treated it and only paid attention to the sexual part, which is only 1% in certain cultures. Okay. I don't study the Indian. I study the Tibetan. Me personally. Because the Kama Sutra, Indians will tell you that the Kama Sutra is a part of the Tantra, is a part of their Tantra. It's not a part of all Tantra. There are many, many different types of Tantra, classified by color, classified by culture, many different ones. I talk mainly on the Tibetan, and I touch upon the Tachikara Ryu, but I don't do that here. Okay, that's the esoteric Japanese form, but I don't talk about that here. But anyway, when we're talking about Tantra in the sexual sense, we're talking about the left-handed meditation part of Tantra. Okay, the physical and the non-physical. Tantra is all physical and non-physical, but only 1% we're talking about is physical for Tibetan Tantra. Okay. And it controls the desire to be free to let go in it, which means you control yourself. Thank you. You control yourself to be able to be free in it. So let me explain. Desire. In other words, you control the desire so it does not control you. You control the lust Because lust is desire out of control. It has no thought. It has no reason. It's like rage. Okay? You can't really think in it. You just want. It is your animus, your id. If you're going to look in Freud terms, it is that part. It is taking and doing without consequence. And it is the lack of control. This is where a lot of rapes happen. Is when people get past the level of control and they just want what they want. They can't think. They can't. Because their body need has taken over and they're convinced that that's what they need and that's what they do. Okay? So you are overrun with want. And what you need does not exist. It is all want. So you can't think. You don't pay attention to the consequences. Okay? So it is a lack of control of your senses where reason is not present. It doesn't exist in this state. Okay? You're just not in control. Now, when you're not in control, your consciousness belongs to someone else. It is easy to control you in this state. All right? That means you'll do anything because you want so bad. You will do anything. And this is where a lot of people manipulate folks, getting them to the state. There are women that will purposefully do this to men or others to get them in trouble and trap them by turning them on so much that they're in lust, right? This is how a lot of women will trap men that are already in relationships with other women. And then they're like, oop, I got them. And then, take the video and all that kind of bullshit because they too goddamn weak-minded. Excuse my language, but they're too weak-minded to love themselves and get their own elsewhere, not someone taken. If they're taken, they're not for you, boo. Duh. And vice versa. Men do the same thing. So I ain't gonna just put on women. Men do the same thing. So that's the manipulation part that I'm talking about. This is why sexual rituals are used against people, because in lust, you give everything for that feeling of pleasure or what they call bliss, especially in orgasm. Let me explain. I don't know if you've ever been with someone who, I don't want to sound like bad, but put it in your terms, where they hitting it so good, it's like a slight burn, right? But it's a burn, not a bad burn. It's a fire within you, okay? And you want it to last, and you want it to last for a while. And what happens is in your inner core, you start to open up. And you start to now go over into the desire where you'll give anything. You'll give anything for that to continue. That's the part that's manipulated. Okay? Especially in orgasm, because that's the highest state. That's the highest energy state. And it's easier to do it to women because we multiple orgasm. Men do too, but in a different way. But we multiple orgasm naturally. Men learn how to do that. We do it naturally. So they keep us going. Our orgasm is in a loop cycle. And they keep us doing that to control it, to control what we want, right? And then, well, I'm going to get into what happens, though, when you can't control yourself. So we'll get there. So orgasm creates a heightened chemical change, as you can see physically. And that's the heightened state in which you manifest the most. That's why people use Tantra, the sexual part of Tantra, more than the meditative part, because you raise your energy quickly with a partner. It is a quick exchange of energy. Well, I won't say quick, but it's an exchange of energy that's very powerful. Very powerful. And your vibrations and your frequency is heightened to the exponential degree, like touching the cosmos. And you're able to manifest quickly. It's like a quick way of manifestation. Okay? Quicker than the original way. And so they call it bliss in Tantra. But It's your animus. It is tapping into that primal energy of you. It is you. And there's a reason why I'm saying it's you now, because we're going to get into that. But it is you. Okay? It is your id. It is what you really want. It's like if you ever studied the 3 levels of consciousness with Freud, right? Super ego, ego, and id. It is your lowest, your animus, your lust, your primal, your what I want, get out of my way. I'll beat you if you don't give it to me. That. Okay? So when I say that you're in your primal power, that is, as I said, that is the quickest way to raise your power energetically. And when you add love to it, you are unstoppable force. And it's quick, but it's not quick. It's quick in the aspect of kind of how it builds depending upon how you do it with your partner or yourself, because you can't do it yourself. Of course, masturbation stuff, you can do it yourself. But when you're in that state, you're in a state of healing. You're in a state of awe. And it's like you touch the cosmos in that state. Literally, you touch the cosmos. And when coupled with love, you are an unstoppable force. You transform. Your whole system changes. From your mental to your physical to your emotional. All of it changes. Okay? So, this is, they call it euphoria, bliss, pleasure, whatever. Okay? All of it is beautiful. State of expression, of sexual expression. All of it is beautiful. Especially when love is used properly. And it's not abused. It is not manipulated. But it can be devastating if it is manipulated. It can be devastating to the person if they're not ready. Okay? The state of Tantra, in my opinion, physical Tantra, should never be practiced by someone and by those who don't have a functional baseline, don't know what their functional baseline is in their self-development, okay, to control it. It should not be practiced by these people. You are raising, and I want you to understand something, you are raising energy exponentially, but your emotions are not in check, your desires are not in check, your mental state is not in check. What do you think will happen? That is something that my teacher drilled in me when I had one for Tantra. What do you think will happen when those are out of control? Look what's happening out there when those are out of control. That's the rape. Those are the gruesome abuses. Okay? Those are the gruesome addictions that are very unhealthy. I don't give a damn what nobody say. But doing stuff with a child is not fucking okay. It should never be okay. Ever. No. You need to have control over yourself with that. I am so sorry. So, not sorry. But anyway, what happens in the bliss state, okay, you need to know your baseline. What happens in the bliss state, thank you, is your real emotions emerge. And if unbalanced, addictions come out, fears are exponentially elevated. Sadness and depression can come out. Trauma and abuse, memories can come out and activate it, especially if unbalanced, can create a very volatile state within you, creating grief, guilt, anguish, shame, all of that, if unchecked and if not done correctly. I used to have a client, and let me explain something. Okay, no, I did not go around fucking people. I am not one of these people that you see advertised on Craigslist and these other motherfucking places, half naked, okay, and calling Tantra when it's really just fucking. No, okay, because if you understand anything about psychology, there are diseases and there are disorders dealing with sexual disorders, and there are sexual surrogates, there are sex therapists, there are sex educators. These are professionals that know what they're doing and are very good at their craft. Kudos to y'all. I love y'all because I want to be one too, and I'm studying that. But I'm talking about the ones who are legit, where they're working through trauma that's either sexual trauma or other type of trauma or other abuses and things like that, and in sexual states all of these emotions come out, especially when they orgasm. I have seen people cry. I have seen people shout. I have seen people shake with anger and fear and rage and ready to get up. I have seen people curl up, and it's been an experience. And it can be very beautiful, but it can be so destructive. I've been there. That's why I had to learn Tantra for myself, and I had to have a teacher. I've been there. I have been in that not destructive state, but I've been in that depressive state before of the abuses that I've been through. I've been there. I understand. And it can be, and the more beautiful the expression of the union, the bigger the explosiveness of the sad emotion of the abuse. It comes out, it can happen. So for those of you that may have a partner, and when you're with them and you're loving them, and you know you're intimate with them, and they have some emotion that does not match this beautiful moment you have, that's what's going on. That's what's going on. And if that's what's happening, you need to find a sex therapist or someone who understands, a professional who understands how to work you through that, or a true tantric practitioner that is not a prostitute covering it as a tantric practitioner, okay? But someone who truly knows how to work you through those emotions and those feelings. All right. Because all of this can come out in heightened states of sexual desire, unchecked, okay? That's why I say someone that's not ready should not engage in Tantra, because all of these things can come out, and then you don't know what's going on. But this is what happens when it's not balanced within you. Hence why you need to love yourself, all right? And why you need to wait to give yourself to someone, because especially if a lot is going on with you and a lot is going on emotionally with you, okay? So the control the desire is to not lose control over yourself, right? Where you don't give it over to someone else. Don't make contracts, sexual contracts with energy and juices with those not worthy of it. Don't give yourself to someone not worthy to have it. Don't do that. Don't do that. Because they don't know who they are, right? You don't defile your sacred temple with something unclean, because, and I'm going to say it again, the energy goes through your intuition, your chakras, your meridians, your aura field. All of that is affected, okay? And you receive, some of you that are chosen in divine and stuff like that, and some of you that are not, but still can receive the sacred word. You're housing the sacred word. It's like you are a walking Ark of the Covenant, carrying the word, literally, because you get downloads, right? And your sacred energy, and your blessings, you receive love. That is all sacred in your temple, okay? You receive and you give, right? So if you're housing the sacred word, loves, you don't give it like to nothing. And I don't mean people are nothing, but you don't give it in aspects of trading it for money. You don't give it away because that's your power. That is a part of your power, your personal power. People, you don't understand how much power you have. Think of it this way. Your brain is an electrical impulse powerhouse. You're so powerful that what you think happens and you create. You're a creator. That is power. Why? You follow a God who's a creator. You call it all. You're made in its image, supposedly, right? You follow spirit, source, or whatever. Those are all infinite amounts of energy, which means you harness infinite amounts of energy, which means this is why these groups come in and do shit to you, and people do shit to you, thank you, to take from you because you are an infinite energy source. In other words, if you look at Matrix, boom, you're a battery. You don't run out though. You recharge, but you don't run out. Yeah, that was true. But in a different point of view. Okay? You don't just give that away. Hell to the no. You don't give that away. You don't. And that is why those that escort and that are very expensive, because they know the value of what they're giving out and how expensive it is, so you're going to pay for it. Those that are lower cost and just out there, with their pimp and stuff like that, they don't understand the value. They don't even understand how expensive they are because they don't love themselves. They need something, they're giving something they need in the moment, but what they're giving is way more than what they're receiving. And it's being controlled by somebody else. Hence, lust. You did. So, lust clouds judgment, focus, and accountability, responsibility. And upon coming down from that high, okay. So, remember the state I said to where you got that little burn and you just want, and you want it to keep going, and you want it to keep feeling that good, and you'll give anything, right? And that's why sometimes people talk to you in that state, because what you say, again, is binding, especially in that higher vibrational state. It's binding. So they'll ask you questions in that state. That's why sex is also used as torture, okay? Till you can't take it. That's why BDM is so great. But in an aspect also of that is controlled in an environment, and you have your safe words and stuff like that, right? So when you're coming down from that high and you return to your conscious state, because when you're up there, baby, you're not in your conscious state. You're not. You're in the bliss state. That's different. You're not thinking. You're experiencing and feeling. So when you come down into the conscious state, after you done given everything, and after you done given into that desire and that lust, right? Here comes anxiousness and guilt. You feel ashamed for what you said, for what you gave, for what you did. Then now you're sitting with the shame. This happens a lot with teenagers. I always tell teenagers, do not have sex before marriage. It is not because I'm trying to get you to follow a book or a spirit. No, you don't understand what follows when you do that. You don't know what feelings that you can't control follow, that drive you insane. You don't understand the shame and the guilt that you're sitting with. And if adults can't deal with it, baby, you can't deal with it. Don't do it. And then if you ain't got a constant supply, really don't do it. Don't do it. So if you're not ready to look at your true shadow, to receive and heal it, don't do it. Don't engage in Tantra. Don't engage in sex. Don't do it. Okay? If you're not ready to see the real you, don't do it. If you're not ready to be the real you, don't do it. Okay? That is why many are not ready for Tantra. And think of it as just a sexual act. It is not just a sexual act. It is a contract, a binding contract. That is only 1%, as I said, of Tantra. That is why before you do any practice, and Tantra is a practice, like any religion. I am Dzogchen. I like to study Dzogchen. Okay? It is a practice. That means when you have the partner, or what else have you, orgies included and stuff like that, it is a practice. It is a ritual. That is a practice. Like you pray. It is a practice. Okay? And in Tantra, we call it a practice because it's an intentional art form that we're using and we're doing to connect with someone in bliss and harmony, who we love, or who our partner is. But this is why before any practice, you study. This is also why, like I said, I tell teens, don't touch it. It's not for teens. Now, some people use Tantra to teach people, and this part of Tantra, yes, to teach people how to control it, how to help themselves. Yes, absolutely. If you have a guide that's able to teach you how to do that, do that. to get to that healthy state, right? To even get you there. But you need a guide that is good in Tantra, that knows how to do that knows what they're doing and not going to exploit you. Because some Tantra teachers will exploit you. I got lucky. Right? But some will. But lust, you know, that emotional contract is hard to break. It's hard to break, especially if the sex is good. It's hard to break. So it's its own beast that feasts and lives in a state of no care of the consequences. But then you end up in karma and hell of that guilt. Now you didn't put yourself in a personal hell. Okay? So how can you calm lust? All right, 1. Think of what the physical need is. Sometimes some of y'all ain't had sex in such a long time that you just want. I get it. And especially with the programming today, there's really no way you can fight that. It's really, really difficult. You can, but it's difficult. I'm not going to say that the physical union is not beautiful. As I said before, it's a very beautiful act. But it is also sacred. And that's what you need to understand. Your body is sacred. The act is sacred. So sometimes the need for the physical release is needed for the body. Even physiologically for the body, it is needed. It keeps you young. It keeps certain things functioning because you need those endorphins that are released and those neurotransmitters that are released in the brain when that act occurs. So the body does need it. Okay. But the emotional and the psychological that goes with it is just as important. So you need to be mindful of that. 2, have a safe outlet in which to do it. It is not realistic, like I said, with all the programming around, to not relieve yourself. So if you're somebody who does masturbate, be mindful and be responsible with it. Okay? But do it in a healthy way with no guilt. 3, study what desire actually is. So not only where it comes from within you, but also find other resources to transfer that energy to. Sexual energy is a very creative energy. So is art, so is singing, so is music, so is dancing. Breathe through it when you're getting those lustful urges to the point of where you just want to attack. Breathe through it. Tantra, there are Tantra techniques of breathing where you loop orgasm throughout your body and you have the full body orgasm. It is also breathing where you loop it with your partner. Those are certain practices that we practice. But there's a way that you can breathe where you can breathe it to calm it down and then transfer it into something healthy, some creative, healthy activity. Okay? Study that. 4. Is that 4? Use your mind. Control the outcome. Think of the repercussions. Use your thinking mind before you can. Okay? Before it happens. Think of the attachment that is formed. Think of the consequences that happens when you're in lust and when you can't control yourself. Think of what happened last time you couldn't control yourself if it happened. Think of what happens when you lose control of yourself. This part requires you to know you. So that requires some love piece on your part. When you love you, it's a bit easier to control it. Okay? Because you're able to put boundaries upon yourself of what you will do and what you won't do and what you will accept and what you won't accept. Hence why you love yourself. Right? Because you know yourself. 5, respect and protect your energy. Do not give it away for free. It is not free for you to use. What I mean is, when you use your energy, right, there's consequences and karma in play. At play. Energy is not created or destroyed, so it's pulled from somewhere. So if you're pulling it from somewhere, that means somewhere else had to give. That means when you release it, someone else somewhere has to receive. Okay? So all energy does is recycle all over the place. So when you don't let lust dictate over you, over your thoughts, over your body, over your psychology. Okay? If you are someone who struggles with this, please seek a professional. It is very difficult. It is very hard to deal with. I understand. If you are someone that is a pedophile and you cannot help but be attracted to children, please seek help, because that is not healthy. I don't care what psychologists say about trying to approve that. No, there is nothing okay with that. Nothing. That is a child, underdeveloped. You will mess up their psychological state. You will mess up their growth. You will mess up their organs. That is not okay. You understand? That is not okay. Seek help. I'm not judging you, because all of us have our own vices, our own addictions, and what we go through. So I am not judging you. Seek help. There are tantric practitioners that are for real, that are certified, and even some that are not certified, that know what they're doing. But you got to research really well before you find a tantric teacher, if that's something that you need or that you want to work through some of your sensual and sexual issues. But lust is one that has to be worked through, because you lose control. You make contracts you should not make, and you defile your temple. You give yourself over in a way that is not healthy and conducive for your growth. You're not acting in love when you're acting in lust, because you can't even fathom that's all you're in is lust. You're not in love. You're in lust. Your body is controlling, not you. All right, loves. I hope this helped. From Divine to Tantrika. I hope this helped. I hope it was something to think about. And really, why we don't go there. Why we don't, because we don't need to. But sometimes the disorder comes in when it has gotten out of control. And we have been abused, and we got addicted to those feelings when we were younger. I know, my loves. I've been there. I'm a highly sexual and sensual person, because I was abused a lot when I was younger and in college. Not so much my teen years, thank God, right? Until I learned to embrace me, and I learned not to sit in shame. I'm not going to point fingers at those who did it, because you know everything in this life is a lesson, no matter how fucked up it is. But I did learn to embrace my sensuality and my sexuality, and to be very proud of it. Very just in tune with it, because it is a power. And if I'm like this to it, I'm stopping my power. I'm not going to stop my power because somebody touched me when they weren't supposed to touch me. Right? And I still have things that I work through in that. But what I do is I have control over myself, and I give myself boundaries. And I don't let nobody approach and touch me if they're not worthy to. That is a no. All right, y'all. I love you. Your beautiful selves. Ooh, you so beautiful. You don't understand. You so beautiful. You are. And I love you so much. And part of the reason why I love you, I'm going to give you one reason today. I can give you the whole reason today. But one of the reasons why I love you is because you are having the strength and the courage to walk this, and it is hard as hell, and I know it is hard as hell. It's like it was set up for us to fail in the first damn place, but you know what? Baby, you are doing it. You are here. You are walking it, and you are learning as much as you can so you can be that love warrior, because you already are. But you're just trying to navigate your life and find your peace and the love of yourself. And baby, that's to be applauded. So when you feel you ain't done enough, you're not enough, and all that kind of stuff, right? Applaud yourself. You did. Applaud yourself, my loves. Okay, my loves. I love you. You have a wonderful evening.